Saudi Arabia is once again proving to be a cut above the rest when it comes to executions in general, because Saudi Arabia is performing so many executions that they had to put out an ad for more swordsmen. That's right. Saudi Arabia is looking for more swordsmen. Fascinating. Now, according to, I believe it was Think Progress, Saudi Arabia, no, according to Raw Story, my apologies, Saudi Arabia advertised vacancies for 8 executioners on Tuesday after beheading nearly as many people since the start of the year as it did during the whole of 2014. Now, how many people have been executed, first of all, in Saudi Arabia? Last year, according to an AFP tally, Saudi Arabia executed 87 people by the sword. That's how they do it. For the most part, they'll behead you in Saudi Arabia. And, if they don't do that, sometimes they'll stone, and sometimes they'll use a firing squad. But most of the time, beheadings. That's their preferred method of Saudi execution. Interesting. Now, what are the qualifications for becoming an executioner in Saudi Arabia? Well, this is interesting. Apparently, the civil service ministry is in such dire need of people to kill other people that all the qualifications, which I can't really imagine what they would be, no qualifications were necessary, and the applicants would be exempted from the usual entrance exams. No, wait a minute. There are entrance exams to be an executioner in Saudi Arabia? I couldn't imagine what those would be. Like, what kind of questions would they ask you on the exam? Where do you place the blade? If you don't know how to hold a sword, odds are the job's not for you. Okay, so, look, obviously very serious story, very serious problems with Saudi Arabia itself. I've talked to people from Saudi Arabia before. An unnamed atheist, actually, in Saudi Arabia, one of our listeners, whom I've talked to before, and ironically, one of the crimes that is punishable by execution is apostasy. Yeah, apostasy, which is, of course, just one of the few penalties. Of course, drug trafficking, also punishable by death, rape, murder, and armed robbery. Armed robbery. So you steal something in Saudi Arabia with a weapon, they're going to kill you. So Saudi Arabia says, well, the Interior Ministry of Saudi Arabia says, well, the death penalty was a deterrent. Now, wait a minute here. No, it's not. Look, various studies have proven, and even various polls taken, at least here in America, show that that is not a deterrent and that people mostly just use the death penalty as sort of a revenge, sort of an eye for an eye. That's their version of justice. That's what they like to see their justice system do. Had the state kill them. Well, I don't agree with that, obviously. And look, there's a big irony, and I know a lot of people disagree with me with this, but there's a big irony about saying that in order to deter people from killing other people, or, for example, raping someone else, or trafficking drugs, in order to show you that it's wrong to do that, we're going to kill you. Oh, wow. I guess you've learned your lesson, dead man. It makes no sense. But this is what they do. They live under a strict Islamic Sharia law, which I think is crazy. Now, bringing it back to America, there are certain people in America who want to bring about similar laws. And it's not always I'm not pointing at the Muslims on this one, even though I'm sure there are some out there that feel the same way. But I'm also pointing at the Christians. For example, they had a kill the gays bill in California brought up, submitted, put on they wanted to put it on a ballot. Kill the gays bill. with any, any convenient means, whether by gunshot or by stone or whatever. As long as it's a convenient means to kill a gay person, that's what this bill would have allowed. And that's from a Christian fundamentalist. So, look, there is almost no difference between Christian fundamentalists in America and other places and Islamic fundamentalists that practice Sharia law in Saudi Arabia. So I just wanted to point that out. The only difference is that Christian fundamentalists right now, they don't have as much power. And most people in America, most religious people, most Christians, don't agree with that strict interpretation of the Bible. Just like I think a lot of Muslims in America don't agree with that strict interpretation of Sharia law. At least in America. As I said, I can't account for all of them, but I'm pretty sure that most of them. I have yet to see a Muslim in America bring up a kill the gays bill. Now, you want to talk about ISIS that's throwing gay people off buildings? That's definitely a fair conversation. But when we're talking about it in America here, I think it's obvious that a lot of the Christians are ones that are more likely to push their own religious laws.